ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुक्तावदनं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पदान सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितां च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश कुटिकाकांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च प्रीतानां भावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. So welcome to IBC Siksha. We'll continue with Bhagavad Gita reading. We are in the 18th chapter. We completed till verse number 56. We'll go through 57. But before that, we'll do some recap. Quick recap. So 18th chapter is summarization. So a lot of so the whole Bhagavad Gita is summarized, and a lot of things are repeated. So
Right.
yeah. So Arjuna is asking what is the difference between Tyaga and Sannyas. So Krishna says that sannyas is an order of life, but even a married person can also do this. When he has dedicated everything in the service of the Lord, that is also sannyas. So the explanation is that there is a spirit of sannyas. And sannyas means you are not attached to your fruits. You are ready to give it to Krishna. That is sannyas.
But
And then,
Tyag also you are giving up, right?
yes, Tyaga, um,
Tyag means being in sannyas, you give up everything.
so Tyaga is, there are many things inside it,
Right.
like acts of charity, penances, sacrifices. Okay.
Hmm.
So one may do these activities, but he can do that in the three modes of material nature. So Krishna says a sacrifice can happen in three modes, a charity can happen in three modes, a penances can happen in three modes. So sacrifice is like um, he may do it with some fruitive mentality, or he may do it without any expectation, or he may do it for some name or fame.
Oh.
So when it is done for fruitive, it is in mode of passion. When it is done for the sake of duty, then it is in mode of goodness without expectation. And when it is done for name fame, then it is in mode of ignorance. Same way charity and penance is also same thing. So what Krishna is trying to explain is you may do tyaga, but how you do it is more important. Similarly, a
Right.
person may be a sannyasi, but he may not be really a sannyasi. Why? Because there is a spirit of sannyasi. There is a spirit of renunciation. So if that happens, without expectation and without attachment for the result, and it's a matter of duty, then it is a sannyas. So Krishna is more interested in what should be the internal mood rather than the external appearance. Okay.
Hmm.
So Arjuna asked this question about sannyas, and sannyas is definitely an order of life. But Krishna says actually it is a mood also, the internal mood of a devotee. That is more important. Otherwise, we see in today's world there are some sannyasis, and they do scams and abuse and a lot of other things, right?
Right.
So that is not a sannyas.
See, they are not a sannyasi then.
Yeah, they are not sannyasis. So externally they may wear the dress. Therefore, Krishna says about the three modes of material nature, and then and then we discussed a lot of things. But we'll discuss whatever was the latest. So in the latest, he says that we have these three modes of material nature, and similarly, Krishna has designed the varnashram system.
Yes.
This is the varna, and then there is ashramas. So if we follow these varna ashram system, then we can perfect our lives. So we discuss this varna ashram system. So varna is for gradual process in material life, and ashram is a gradual process in spiritual life.
Spiritual life.
Yeah. And if we follow the rules and regulations of this varna ashram, then we gradually advance. Okay, materially also we are psychophysically satisfied, and spiritually also we advance, and then ultimately we develop a spirit of renunciation as we go from brahmachari to grahastha to vanaprastha and sannyas. And when we become sannyasis, I mean, when the person becomes sannyasi, then he is fully dedicated. Okay, but that fully dedicated spirit comes when he has practiced it beforehand. Okay, so it's like it's like a marathon race.
Ah,
So anybody can run a marathon race, but they may not survive it, right? Whatever it may be, 20 kilometers, 30 kilometers, they cannot survive it. You have to practice it, and over a period of time then you can sustain that 2 hours of running. Getting? So similarly, the training, the situations, the maturity should come from the previous varna and ashramas when we follow all these things. Getting?
right.
So he says we should follow the varnashram system. And then we discussed all what is there in each varnas. And by worship of the Lord, while we are following the varnashram system, we are performing our work, we are offering our results to Him. And slowly, what happens with this? There is a detachment that comes. We start getting all these qualities. Being purified by intelligence, controlling mind and determination, giving up sense gratification, eating little, controlling body, mind, power of speech, false ego, false pride, lust, anger. All this starts getting controlled. Slowly, we are elevated to the position of self realization. That is, spiritually, we advance by following the rules and regulations of the Varna and Ashram system. And then we can realize the Supreme Brahman and become joyful. We don't lament on desire on anything, lament or desiring anything like that. And in that state, there is pure devotion service unto me, that is unto Krishna.
Right.
So until that state, the devotional service is there, but it is not pure. It is a little bit impure. When it comes pure, um, when one is having these all qualities, 51 to 53. Till that point, we are little selfish. So technically, it means when we are becoming selfless in our service to Krishna, then pure devotional service starts. Okay. Now we will go to our today's verse, that is 57th verse. And Krishna says, if you are engaged in all kinds of activities, my pure devotee is under my protection. He reaches my abode, so don't worry. And I can only be understood by devotional service. There is no other way to understand. Okay, so let's get to text number 57. In all activities, just depend on me and work under my protection. In such devotional service, be fully conscious of me. So, whatever we are doing, we should depend on Krishna and work under his protection. So, all that means is that we have to perform it in a devotional way and we need to have the direction. So, that direction is coming from Guru. So, if we perform our actions under the direction of Guru, then we'll always be conscious of Krishna. Okay, that is what is explained in the purport, but we'll just go through it. Um, can you read the purport? Anyone?
Yeah, I can read.
Go ahead.
So, purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Uh, when one acts in Krishna consciousness, he does not act as the master of the world. Just like a servant, one should fully understand the direction of the Supreme Lord. A servant has no individual independence. He acts only on the order of the master. A servant acting on behalf of the Supreme Master is unaffected by profit and loss. He simply discharges his duty faithfully in terms of the order of the Lord. Now, one may argue that Arjuna was acting under the personal direction of Krishna, but when Krishna is not present, how should one act? If one acts according to the direction of Krishna in this book, as well as under the guidance of the representative of Krishna, then the result will be the same. The Sanskrit word matapraha is very important in this verse. Matpara. It indicates that one has no goal in life save and except acting in Krishna consciousness just to satisfy Krishna. And while working in that way, one should think of Krishna only. I have I have been appointed to discharge this particular duty by Krishna. While acting in such a way, no naturally has to think
One.
one naturally has to think of Krishna. This is perfect Krishna consciousness. One should, however, note that after doing something whimsically, he should not offer the result of the Supreme Lord. That sort of duty is not the devotional service of Krishna consciousness. One should act according to the order of Krishna. This is a very important point. That order of Krishna comes through disciplic succession from the bona fide spiritual master. Therefore, the spiritual master's order should be taken as the prime duty of life. If one gets a bona fide spiritual master and acts according to his direction, then one's perfection of life, Krishna consciousness, is guaranteed.
Yeah.
Right.
So Prabhupada gave us a very nice formula that whatever duty we may be performing in our company, whatever, in at home, we have various duties. Father, mother, brother, sister. These are also duties only. Husband, wife, child, son, daughter. These are also duties. And at duties at our office also. Manager, team lead, worker. So we can think like this, that while working we should think Krishna appointed me to discharge the duty and I will do it with full quality. Um, and
Means everything whatever is happening is not mine. Everything is being done by the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. Whatever, like, I have nothing to do with whatever is happening in my life. I am completely detached.
no. That's not what it means.
That's what the Matparaha is, right?
No. Mat parha.
Matpara means completely surrender to the
Yes,
Krishna.
what that surrender means, that whatever I am doing, my duties,
Hmm.
Krishna put me in this situation.
Right.
Okay, and what you are telling is that everything is done by Krishna, right? You are telling like this, right?
No. Everything is given to me by Krishna, whatever good or bad, whatever duty is, it is assigned. It is It is authorized by Krishna only for me.
Yes, that's what here. But
Hmm.
what you are telling is that everything is done by Krishna. You told like this, right?
Okay, okay.
So that concept Krishna says, it's not like it doesn't say, but the way to understand it, we'll just crush it because that is one of the part of this chapter. So the way to understand that is Krishna says there are five activities which decide.
Ah, right, right, right.
Okay. It is said in the Vedanta. Krishna says there are five causes of any action. The place of action, the performer of various senses, many different kind of endeavors, and ultimately the
Super
super
soul.
soul. Okay, whatever right, wrong action he performs with this body, mind, and these are caused by the five activities. Okay. So in this regard, one should not think himself to be the only doer.
Okay.
So he should definitely think that he is the initiator or the desirer, but not that he did it with all his strength. Why? Because I'll give you one nice example. We have discussed this, but it's important to repeat this because it's a very important concept. Okay. I'm showing this person, he dug a hole here. Okay. Now, how he should say that he dug the hole? Can he say, I dig the hole? Can this operator say, I dig the hole?
No.
He can say, but still that statement is incomplete. Why? Because did he dig it using his own hands? No. So he has to say, I dig the hole with the help of this machine. Now, does this machine belongs to him? No, it belongs to the company. So under the permission of the company, I use this machine to dig the hole. So that's the complete understanding of the doership, right? Similarly, Krishna is also saying that the real doership, sorry, we are here, right? The real doership is like there are five things which are controlling it, and you are just one of them. Okay, you are just one of them. So understand this situation. Understand this way. You are here, seated here. Okay, you are the soul. This is a super soul, and this body is a machine. This is made of three modes, material, energy. That belongs to whom? To whom this machine belongs? Krishna. So you are using this machine to do whatever activity you are doing. So don't think you are the only doer. You have to say, I did it because Krishna sanctioned it. Like that. So one should not think that he's the only doer. He should know the other factors also there that are controlling the result of it. And we derived a mathematical formula here that we may have a good body, we may performer, that is we ourselves, as a soul. We may use our senses, put the endeavors, okay, but this cannot force us a success in our work. Ultimately, these things will add up, but this whole add up is multiplied by the super soul. Okay. Ultimately, this whole thing is multiplied by the super soul. So that by the desire of the super soul, our whole efforts can become zero, or by the desire of the super soul, everything can become perfect, right? So super soul is the ultimate desirer, ultimate performer. Is the ultimate doer, ultimate reason for any accomplishment of work. So this is the understanding. Is this clear? So when we say now that Krishna does it, this is the way he does it. But
Okay.
but our desire is there. So he doesn't take any result of our work. We take the result of our work. Why? Because we desired in the first place. Okay, we desire in the first place. Like I show you here. This is gulab jamun. We desire to eat the gulab jamun. So when we put it in the mouth, the body tastes it and tells the soul that it is sweet. Now we desire to eat it again, 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 again. What will happen? If we eat too much of gulab jamun, what will happen? Diabetes. So can we say? So can we say this diabetes is because the super soul gave the sanction and I did it? No, it was your desire. So that's why in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says this, that the results are not for the super soul but for the individual soul. Why? Because he did it. So then, by the process of yoga, what happens is the desire of the soul and the super soul become one. That is yoga. Yoga means union. So union means not combined, but they become agreeable to each other. Just like we say in a marriage, husband and wife become one. Have they become one or they remain two? They have remained two, but what they have become one in spirit. Like there is one team. It's a team of 5 people, but they work as together, right? Yes or no? So in that sense, they become one. So here what happens is the soul becomes one with the Lord in spirit. When that happens, when he performs the process of yoga, the process of karma yoga, the process of jnana yoga, and ultimately the process of bhakti yoga. This whole thing is happening so that he becomes agreeable to the Supreme Lord. And then, whatever the Supreme Lord is desiring, he also desires the same thing. Indeed, he acts only what the Supreme Lord is saying. So, this is what Prabhupada is saying in this uh, purport, that he acts only on the order of the Master. Um, Matpara. So that Matpara comes at a very higher stage, okay? At impure stage, it doesn't come, but it comes at a very higher stage. At our stage, we start under the direction of the representative, okay? And we continue doing that. And when the representative is not in front of us, when we become pure enough, then we are still acting under the direction of Krishna. Why? Because we have become Matpara. That is pure stage. When that Matpara happens, when all these qualities come, when we are freed from attachment, hatred, we eat little, we control our body, we maintain speech, we are free from false ego, false strength, false pride, anger. All these qualities come, then we start becoming Matpara. In such a state, when one does pure devotion service, it is pure devotion service. Okay, does this help in understanding?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Verse number 58. If you become conscious of me, see, we are also conscious of Krishna, but there is a difference of quality of consciousness of Arjuna being conscious of Krishna and we being conscious of Krishna, right? When Arjuna used to sleep, right? While sleeping, also he was saying Krishna, 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 Krishna. In our sleep, what we are doing? We are in dreams.
We are doing anything else.
Yeah. So our devotion is not on the level of Matpara. So now this instruction is for Matpara devotees like Arjuna. You become conscious of me. You will pass over all obstacles of conditioned life by my grace. If, however, do not act in such consciousness but act through false ego, not hearing me, you will be lost. So
Right.
sometimes we are in this situation, right? We act through our false ego, and then we are disturbed, and we come to devotees. We ask what is happening, and sometimes some people just leave Krishna consciousness and go. Why? Because in our case, the false ego is strong, and our determination for devotional service is weak. But for Matpara devotee, it is very strong. Okay. Up. Okay. Someone else read the purport.
Can I read, Prabhuji?
Yeah, go ahead.
A person in full Krishna consciousness is not unduly anxious about executing the duties of his existence. Foolish cannot understand this great freedom from all anxieties. For one who acts in Krishna consciousness, Lord Krishna becomes most intimate friend. He always looks after his friends' comfort and he gives himself to his friends who is so devoted, engaged, working 24 hours a day to please the Lord. Therefore, no one should be carried away by his false ego of the bodily concept of life. One should not falsely think himself independent of a law of material nature or free to act. He is already under strict material laws. But as soon as he acts in Krishna consciousness, he is liberated, free from material perplexities. One should note very carefully that one who is not active in Krishna consciousness is losing himself in material whirlpool, in the ocean of birth and death. No conditioned soul actually knows what is to be done and what is not to be done. But the person who acts in Krishna consciousness is free to act because everything is prompted by Krishna from within and conformed by spiritual master.
Okay, so a pure devotee is working 24 hours for the day in to please the Lord, and he is prompted by Krishna from within and confirmed by the spiritual master. So this we find in the case of pure devotees. In our case, we are in material exploratory cities. Sometimes we act on Krishna consciousness. Sometimes we listen to devotees. We do, but yeah, in our case we are struggling, but we have to come. We are slowly. The struggle is there. If you do not act according to my direction, do not fight, then you will be falsely directed. By your nature, you will be engaged in warfare. So Arjuna wanted to become a beggar, and Krishna gave this whole Bhagavad Gita to tell him, don't become a beggar. You do what you are supposed to do. You have been trained as a Kshatriya, you are having the nature of a Kshatriya, you fight. You fight with detachment, you offer the result to the Supreme, you do for Lok Sangraha, and you follow the codes of the Kshatriya. In this way, you will perfect. And do it on my order. That is devotional service. So, one should not neglect the order of the Supreme Personal Godhead or the order of the spiritual master who is the representative God. One should understand unhesitatingly to execute the order of the Supreme Personal Godhead. That will keep one safe under all circumstances. In this regard, I will tell you one story which happened with a disciple of Prabhupada. So, this particular disciple, Indian disciple, he uh, in the 1970s he got retired from school. He was running a school and he was principal of that school. He got retired and then he became disciple of Prabhupada later on. So then Prabhupada said, oh, now you are retired and you have experience of principal and teacher and all that. I am starting this Gurukul. You come here and serve in the Gurukul. You become the teacher, you serve here. And he said, I am become very old. I may not be able to do this thing. You know, I'll just stay at home. Something like that he tells the Prabhupada. And Prabhupada then after a few months or few 1-2 years, he left his body. And then when he said this thing, Bhurijan Prabhu, one of Prabhupada's disciple, was there as a young man. He was very young, Bhurijan Prabhu. Very young, 20, 30s, in his 30s. And after Prabhupada left in 1977, in 1996, they were celebrating the centennial of Srila Prabhupada's appearance. Prabhupada appeared on this earth 1896. So 1996 they were celebrating 100 years of Prabhupada, 100th birth year of Prabhupada. At that point, Bhurijan Prabhu had become little old, okay, and he was in the temple. On that day, he saw some very old person coming to him, and this old person came to him and he started crying. He started saying, you remember, Prabhupada told me like this to become the Gurukul and serve in the Gurukul. I was previously a teacher And then Gurujan Prabhu remembered that. Oh, yes, 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 yes. And he started crying and he said, I didn't listen to my spiritual master. Because I didn't listen to my spiritual, my life has become waste. At home, I was completely useless. My children and all that, they just tortured me. And now I've become so old. I cannot even come out of it. I should have listened to Prabhupada. My life would have been perfect. So this is the thing, that when the order of the spiritual master comes, we should execute it unhesitatingly. So, so yeah, this story is very instructive. So under illusion, you are now declined to act according to my nature, according to my direction, but compelled by your work, born by your nature, you will act all the same. So if you are a Kshatriya, you will act it. You won't become a beggar. If you are a beggar and nobody gives you anything, then you will fight and say, "Hey, give me." Why? Because he's a Kshatriya. We sometimes see this in politicians, right? Politicians, they do this hartal and strike and all that, right? But do you think after doing this hartal and strike, they are very peaceful? No, right? They become more agitated. They will then start throwing stones and they will talk very badly. Well, this whole concept of fasting and all that is made. Why one should do this tapasya? To make himself humble. Okay, first of all, they didn't do it for dharma, nor for any religious purpose. They did it for political purpose. Second thing, tapasya should make oneself humble, control his mind and senses. But we see nothing happens. In that they become uncontrolled. So, but this particular tapasya is not meant for them. Like that. So Arjuna also wanted to beg. While begging, if somebody may not have given him some alms, then what he would have done? He would have got angry. He said, "Give me." Sometimes we see such beggars, right? If you don't give them, they become angry on us. Have you experienced such a thing? Have you experienced?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah. So those beggars are not beggars. They are Kshatriya. They are Kshatriya people. A beggar is supposed to be very humble, right? So this is what Krishna is also telling to Arjuna, that at the end you will fight only. So better you fight for dharma, better you fight under my direction, like that. Then Krishna says, the Supreme Lord is situated in everyone's heart, O Arjuna, and is directing the wanderings of all living entities who are situated is on a machine. So this is a machine made of material energy, and the Supreme Lord is also there. So what Krishna is trying to say here is, by the process of yoga means yuj means union. So by the process of this union, by process of this yoga, you become one with the Supreme. One in what? Spirit. Not like merging. One in spirit. Become one team. Right? When we go to company, everybody is saying now these days, right? Become one team. One, whatever a company name be. One team. Similarly, become one team. Be on the same page. Like that. So Krishna is saying, be on the same page like the Supreme Lord. He is directing. You do what he is saying. Don't do what you are thinking. You are thinking Swajana. What will happen to my swajana, and I won't kill them, and I will kill them, and I don't want this, and I don't think like that. Go according to what the super soul is saying, and I am the super soul, so listen to me. Krishna was not the supreme knower. His decision to fight or not fight is confined to his limited decisions. The Lord Krishna has instructed that the individual is not all in all. Okay, the Supreme Person of Godhead, Krishna, is localized super soul sitting in the heart, directing the living entity. After changing body, the living entity forgets his past deed, but the super soul makes him remind him of his past, present, future, everything. Therefore, all the activities are directed by the Supreme. So you better listen to the Supreme in such a situation where you don't know what to do. A person seated in a high motor speed car goes faster than one seated in a slower car. Though the living entity, the drivers may be similarly by the order of the Supreme Lord, Material energy fashions a particular type of body. So we get particular type of body according to our past desires and karma. But we are not independent. We are dependent. Therefore, if we surrender, then we can perfect our life. O son of Bharata, surrender unto him. Surrender unto him, meaning in yoga. By his grace, you will attain transcendental peace and supreme and eternal abode. What you will attain? Transcendental peace, not material peace, but transcendental peace. You will attain the supreme also, and you will attain the eternal abode. All three in one shot. Can anyone read this paragraph?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Go ahead.
In the 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, it is stated, Sarvasya Shaham Rudhi Vistahan, Lord is seated in everyone's heart. So it is recommendation that one should surrender onto the Supreme. So Super Soul sitting in within means that one should surrender onto the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. Krishna has already been accepted by Arjuna as a Supreme. He was accepted in the 10th chapter as a Param Brahma Parandama. Arjuna has accepted Krishna as Supreme Personality of Godhead and Supreme Abode of all living entities, not only because of his personal experience, but also because of evidence of great authorities like Narada, Asita, Devala, Vyasa, and Vyasa.
Yeah. So Krishna says he's seated in everyone's heart and he gives knowledge, remembrance, and forgetfulness. And Arjuna says, you are the Param Dhama. You are the super soul and you are Param Dhama. You are the transcendental abode. So all, and this is not just Arjuna saying, but Narad Muni, Asita, Devala, Vyasa. These are big authorities. So all of this is achieved if we become devotee of Krishna. When we surrender to Krishna, all of this is achieved. Thus, I have explained to you this knowledge still more confidential. Deliberate on this fully and do what you wish to do. Yatha ichchasi tatha kuru. As you like, you may act. So, Krishna, after telling the whole chapter, Bhagavad Gita is saying, now do what you want to do. So, this is a good teacher. A teacher teaches the subject matter, explains the student what is the pros and cons, and then leaves to the student to decide. So this is a great example of a teacher, of a parent. So as a parent, we should also do this thing. We should give the knowledge, explain the pros and cons, and then let the child decide. Do you agree? Can we follow this example of Krishna?
Sometimes parents will force, no, Prabhuji.
Yes. Sometimes they will force. Is forcing good or bad?
To the certain age, it is good, but after certain age, it's not good. Like we can only suggest to our children.
Okay. So in this case, Chanakya comes to our help to understand this situation. What he says is, from 0 to 5, this is age, from 0 to 5 age, love your child. Love your child unconditionally. From 6 to 15 or 16, discipline your child. After 15, after 15, become his friend. So now it depends on what instruction at what age you are giving. So when it is 0 to 5, you have to definitely force. When it is 6 to 15, you have to discipline and you have to tell the pros and cons. See, 0 to 5, even if you tell the pros and cons, the child is not going to understand. But something, from 6 to 15, they understand the pros and cons. And sometimes you can be very strict in this age also. And sometimes you have to tell the pros and cons and do, like that. But after 15, you become his friend. Then you only explain the pros and cons. That's it. And then let them decide what they want to do. Okay? But if they are acting like childish, then you may do a little bit force and all that. But you should understand that the force decreases as the age increases. Okay? Does this help? Any question?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah. So go according to this formula. It will help. Now Arjuna was already 90 years old. So Krishna told him, okay, do what you wish to do. What do you think Arjuna said? What do you think Arjuna said?
You will agree, Prabhuji.
Yeah, he says, Krishna said, Yatha ichchita tatha kuru. Arjuna said, Karishya vachana tava. I will do what you say. Okay. The Lord has already explained to Arjuna the knowledge of Brahma Bhuta. One who is in Brahma Bhuta condition is joyful. He never laments nor he desires anything. Okay, so this is a Brahma Bhuta stage. When all those qualities are there, right? Equanimity, sameness, then we are in a Brahma Bhuta stage actually. So that is confidential knowledge. Krishna also discloses the knowledge of super soul. When one sees the super soul within the heart, that is all. This is also Brahman knowledge of Brahman, and it is superior. And then now he will talk about devotion to him. That is even more superior. So we have to surrender to Krishna, right? But we have to freely deliberate on the subject matter as far as the intelligence is going. We have to think about the pros and cons. Hmm? And now Krishna is not there in front of us. Then who will give such instructions? Spiritual master. There are two kinds of spiritual master: Diksha Guru, Shiksha Guru. And there are many Shiksha Gurus, but there is only one Diksha Guru. Okay. So all of through them we can understand what is to be done. Because you are my dear friend, I am speaking to you my supreme instruction, the most confidential knowledge of all. Hear this from me. So what is the most confidential knowledge? That is devotional service. So Lord has given Arjuna that is confidential, that is knowledge of Brahman, and still more confidential, that is knowledge of super soul within the Han's heart. And now he is giving the most confidential, that is surrender unto the Lord. Surrender only happens in bhakti. So now he is going to repeat what he has repeated in the 9th chapter. What he has repeated? 19. We'll read the verse.
Prabhuji, man mana bhav mad bhakto.
Yes, that's the verse.
Madhyaji mam namaskuru.
So Krishna repeats this. Mama evansh, Mama evashi. What is that? Mam eva
Mame vaishyasi satyam te pratijane priyosi
priyosim.
me.
मन्मना भव मद्भक्तो मद्याजी मां नमस्कुरु माम एवयसि सत्यम ते प्रतिजानि प्रियोसि मे. So this verse he repeats. So if anything is repeated, right, it becomes very important. Like, if you remember our teacher or our parents repeating some instruction again and again, do this. Then again, while going, they said, do this. Then again, they said, do this. Remember this. Why? Because it's the most important thing. Similarly, Krishna is repeating this instruction. What it says, always think of me, become my devotee, worship me, offer your homage unto me. Thus, you will come to me without fail. I promise you this because you are my very dear friend. Okay, someone read these two paragraphs.
Okay, Prabhuji. The most confidential part of knowledge is that one should become pure devotee of Krishna and always think of him and act for him. One should not become an official mediator. Life should be so molded that one will always have a chance to think of Krishna. One should always think in a such a way that all his daily activities are in connection with Krishna. He should arrange his life in a such a way that throughout 24 hours he cannot but think of Krishna. And the Lord promise is that anyone who is in such pure Krishna consciousness will certainly return to abode of Krishna, where he will be engaged in association of Krishna face to face. The most confidential part of knowledge is spoken to Arjuna because he is the dear friend of Krishna. Everyone who follows the path of Arjuna can become a dear friend to Krishna and obtain the same perfection as Arjuna. The word stress, one should concentrate his mind upon Krishna, very form with two hands carrying a flute, the bluish boy with a beautiful face, peacock feathers in his hair. There are the descriptions of Krishna found in Brahma Samhita and other literatures. One should fix his mind on the original form of a godhead, Krishna. One should not even divert his attention to other forms of a Lord. The Lord has multiple forms of Vishnu, Narayana, Rama, Varaha, but devotee should concentrate his mind on the form that was present before Arjuna. Concentration of the mind on the form of Arjuna constitutes the most confidential part of knowledge. And this is disclosed to the Arjuna because Arjuna is the most dear friend of Krishna's.
Okay. So we should try to make our 24 hours where we can think of Krishna always. So it's difficult. So we should start with few minutes, 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour, where we exclusively think of Krishna. Okay, slowly, slowly, and then we will get to know how to manage our 24 hours to think about Krishna and be always connected with Krishna. It cannot happen in one day. Okay, it takes multiple times, multiple years also, lot of effort. When Valmiki Rishi, he was instructed by whom? Narad Muni, to chant the name of Ram, right? But could he chant the name of Ram 24 hours? No, he could. He started where he was, Mara. He started with Mara, and then it became Ram. And after that, he became sage. All this took many many years, hundreds of years. So yeah, so it's a slow process. So gradually we should see how we will uh, make our 24 hours in thinking about Krishna. And here we should we should meditate on the form of Krishna, which is two-handed form of Krishna, Sham Sundar form. This is called Shama Sundar form. Okay. Any questions on this?
No, Prabhuji.
Okay. So this is our next verse, which is very famous verse. Sarvadharmam parityajya mamekam sharanam braja aham tam sarva papebhyo mokshishyami ma suchaha. What is Krishna saying? Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. So all abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. Okay, we'll read the purport and we'll see. Okay, okay. Can anyone read?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
That surrender will save him from all kinds of
No, no,
sinful
here,
reactions.
here, here. The Lord, the Lord.
The Lord has described various kinds of knowledge and process of religion, knowledge of Supreme Brahman, knowledge of Super Soul, knowledge of different types of orders and status of social life, knowledge of renounced order of life, knowledge of non-attachment, sense and mind, control, meditation, etc. He has described in so many ways different types of religion. Now, in summarizing Bhagavad Gita, Lord says that Arjuna should give up all the process that has been explained to him. He should simply surrender to Krishna. That surrender will save him from all kinds of sinful reactions. For the Lord personally promises to protect him. In 17th chapter, it is said that one who has become free from all sinful reactions can take to the Lord, to the worship of the Lord Krishna. Thus, one should think that unless he is free from all sinful reaction, you cannot take to surrendering process. To such doubts, it is here said that even if one is not free from all the sinful reactions simply by process of surrendering to Krishna, Sri Krishna is automatically freed.
Yeah,
Therefore,
yeah. Just hold. So there is in the seventh chapter it is said that one needs to be free from sinful reactions to worship Lord Krishna. Now we at our step sage is we are not free from sinful reactions. So should we not take to the surrendering process? No, it doesn't mean like that. It means that we should still take part in the process of surrendering to Krishna and we'll automatically achieve it. This is what it means, abandoning all varieties and just surrender onto me. You may be affected, you may be sinful, you may not be sinful, whatever. If you just surrender onto me, all the sins will anyway go away. So don't fear. There is no need to strenuous effort oneself from to free oneself from sinful reactions. We should not think that okay, first let me get free from sinful reactions. No. One should unhesitatingly accept Krishna as the supreme savior of all living beings. The faith and love, then one should surrender unto love. That's the way it is. And what is the process of surrender? It says in Hari Bhakta Vilas 11.677 Anukulyasa sankalpa patikulyasa varjanam rakshasiti vishvasu gopattva varnam tatha atmaniveksha karpanya sadvidhat saranagati. Okay, can someone read this? According to the devotions process.
according to devotional process, one should simply accept such religion principles that will lead ultimately to devotion service of the Lord. One may perform particular occupational duty according to his position in social order. But if by executing his duty one does not come to point of Krishna consciousness, all his activities are in vain. Anything that does not lead to the perfectional stage of Krishna consciousness should be avoided. One should be confident that in all circumstances, Krishna will protect him from all difficulties. There is no need of thinking how one should keep the body and soul together. Krishna will see to that. One should always think himself helpless and should consider Krishna the only basis of his progress in life. As soon as one seriously engage himself in devotional service to the Lord in full Krishna consciousness, at once he becomes free from all the contaminations of material nature. There are different process of religion and purification process by cultivating knowledge, meditation, the mystic yoga system, etc. But one who surrenders onto Krishna does not have to execute so many methods. That simple surrender onto Krishna will save him from unnecessary wasting time. One can thus make all the progress at once and be freed from all sinful reactions.
Okay. So this This is anukulyasya sankalpa. So whatever is anukul, accept those religious principles that will lead ultimately to the devotion service. Whatever is anukul means whatever is favorable for devotion service, accept that. Whatever is not favorable, pratikulasa, varjanam, give it away. Rakshashati vishvasu, know that Krishna will protect me. In all situations, be confident that Krishna will protect me. Okay. Gopatre varnam tatha. One should think himself to be helpless and should consider Krishna as the only basis of progress. Atmanipeksha karpanye sadviddhi sharanagati. By this six processes of surrender, then one performs pure devotional service and surrenders to the Supreme Lord. So this is the full surrender process. There are six processes to it. One should become attracted by the beautiful vision of Krishna. His name is Krishna because he is all attractive. One who becomes attracted by the beautiful, all-powerful, omnipotent vision of Krishna is fortunate. There are different kinds of transcendentalists. See, in the path of spirituality, there are different kinds of spirituality and they will be attracted to different things of Krishna only. Okay. But what we are talking is what the pure devotee or what the devotee in Bhakti Yoga, what they get attracted. So there are simple differences. They get attracted to what? Impersonal Brahman vision. Brahma Jyoti. They don't want to merge into it. Then some get attracted by super soul feature. Then some get attracted to the Aishwarya feature of the Lord. He's very powerful and all that, Lot of opulence he has. Then some get attracted to the personal feature of the Lord. And above all, one is attracted to the Supreme Person of God, Krishna himself, that is Sham Sundar Krishna, two-handed form of Krishna. That is most perfect transcendentalist. This is the most confidential part of Krishna. So there are karma yogis, empiric philosophers, mystics, and devotees are called all transcendentalists, but a pure devotee is the best of all. The word used here is ma sucha, don't worry, don't hesitate, don't worry. Very significant. One may be perplexed how one can give up all kinds of religious form and simply surrender to Krishna, but such a worry is useless. You start this and you will everything other things will automatically fall in place. Just like one may think, oh, how will I be able to swim and all that, right? So what is the solution for it? What is the solution for swimming? Can you tell me what is the solution for swimming?
Start.
Yeah, you just start it. You practice it under the person. Don't fear. It will come. All the things will automatically be in place. So same way, if we surrender to Krishna, we found devotional service to Krishna, everything else will start falling in place. Okay, so we'll stop here. 18.66. Any questions or comments? Any questions?
No, Prabhuji.
No problem.
Okay, so we'll stop here.